Jasper, ClearScope IO, and Chat GPT are all AI tools that can be used to generate your ECSA reports with the click of a button. But is this really ethical? What are the consequences if you get caught, and are we doing more good or bad with inside the profession? To answer this question, let's go and try this for ourselves by opening up a popular AI tool called Chat GPT. Now, once we open up the tool and enter our prompt, we can click on the solve button and we can now start to analyze the results that will be produced by this program. The prompt that I'm going to insert is, I'm applying for registration with the Engineering Council of South Africa. Generate a training and experience report for me, which demonstrates outcome 4 in the field of mechanical engineering, specializing in HVAC. Now, before we dive in and click the copy and paste button and paste it into our TERs, let's first understand what is it that ECSA will require from us. Well, number one, they want to see how your experience demonstrates 11 outcomes. Number two, they want to see, do you understand what all of these 11 outcomes represent? And number three, they want to see, are you a specialist with inside your field? Now, if we go back to the chat, well, actually the results produced by AI, let's first take a look at the very first thing. Does this actually help us demonstrate experience? So as we can see here, it says, well, we can look at the results and we'll say, during my training, I was involved in the investigation and optimization of an HVAC system for a multi-story building. Okay, great. So that's sort of some of the experience that we could claim that we have actually done. Notice also now how we go and it dives immediately into the nature of the problem. It's saying that the problem is complex, the incomplete building documents were done, we did an investigation, we conducted a methodology, we did an analysis of the actual system, the design, and we applied engineering tools such as HVAC calculation spreadsheets, heat transfer principles, as well as root cause analysis techniques. Now, notice one thing by the results produced by this tool. They are often actually quite generic. Now, if I turned around and I said to you, well, I applied thermodynamic and heat transfer principles, is that a statement or is that actually demonstrating anything? I'd like you to make that decision, because that's the first thing we need to see is, are we really demonstrating or are we telling ECSA something that might demonstrate that we have accomplished the 11 outcomes? Okay, so from here you can see everything that's produced by Chat GPT is actually quite generic and, well, really doesn't tell you much of how you have gained experience that demonstrates that you know what you are doing with inside your industry. The second thing that we can move on to is now, do you understand what the 11 outcomes are all about? Now, if you go to ECSA's documentation and research what outcome 4 is, you will notice that outcome 4 is to go ahead and manage an engineering activity. Now, notice the results produced by this tool state that ECSA outcome 4 is to conduct investigations of complex engineering problems. And as you go through this, you're going to notice that the solution as well as the methodology is more around an investigation, which is actually not what outcome 4 is all about. And if we go back to ECSA's documents, we will notice that outcome 1 is actually an investigation. So you can now start to see that, yes, it can produce lingo, it can produce concepts, it can produce some result, but whether those results are correct or incorrect is dependent upon the algorithm that the AI now starts to pick up, which sometimes is not always correct. So as we can see, the first requirement from ECSA is sort of met with experience, but it's quite generic. The second, definitely we are not there, as actually the AI tool is producing the incorrect result and telling us the incorrect outcome requirement. Let's now look at the third thing, which is of course now to see, are you a specialist with inside your field? Now, to prove that you're a specialist within the field, you often have to give information and state engineering terms that make sense and are, well, correct. So if we now come down here, we might actually start to review and ask, is everything stated here in alignment and technically correct? Okay, so let's see now. If we went here and say, okay, we look at supply air temperature, airflow rates, chilled water, and delta T consumption. Initially, that sounds great. It's the correct terminology. But let's also come here and see collected operational data, including temperature, band speed, and thing. Let's now come here, analyze BMS trend logs to assess system response to load variations. Compared actual airflow and temperature against design, identified low chilled water temperature differential indicating poor heat transfer. Okay. Now notice, does this actually all make sense? One moment you're speaking about a monitoring, the next moment you're talking about airflow rates, the next moment you're talking about comparing different things against design. Next thing is you're talking about heat transfer principles. As you can see, this actually is, how can I put it, everywhere but nowhere. And the goal is, as you are demonstrating all of these outcomes, the goal is to work systematically. Think like, how would you do this as an engineer? And this is what AI does not take into account. It doesn't take into account the human element of logical thinking. It actually just takes a whole bunch of information out there, compiles it, and pretty much produces some form of result. So, what is your opinion? If I were to copy and paste all of these bullet forms into a TR, do you think this would actually be deemed as adequate for the actual assessors who are now reviewing your report? Go ahead, leave your comments down below in the comment box below, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well as the like button so that you can help us out with this channel. Now, should you not be convinced that AI is a bad idea, I would like to let you know that should you get caught, you could be disqualified for a minimum of 3 years from applying for ECSA registration. When you submit your application, you declare that all content presented to ECSA is your own work, which is not plagiarized in any form or any other source or person. Should it be proven that you used AI to generate your report and that the work you did was not your own, you may be seen as performing an act of dishonesty, which violates the ECSA Code of Conduct, which is a very serious offense. Now, take into consideration that how you present yourself now within the candidate phase often sets the foundation on how you present yourself at a professional level. Unfortunately, the reality is that there are no shortcuts. Becoming ECSA registered is a lengthy process that takes time and sacrifice. So moving forward, instead of turning to AI to help you generate your reports, rather reach out to other professionals and receive guidance on what is required from you. You should try to focus on how you can demonstrate the 11 outcomes by using all your work experience that you have gained, and focus on how you can demonstrate that you are a specialist inside your field. Now, should you need any assistance, go ahead and schedule an appointment with us. I left the link below, and I'll catch you on the next video.